Ladies and gentlemen, we're joined by Tennessee starting quarterback Joshua Dobbs. Joshua, if you don't mind, just kind of start us off with an opening statement. Just talk about being here at SEC Media Days.
Hello, guys. It's obviously a great opportunity to come back to SEC Media Days. I remember, coming back last year. So anytime you can come out and represent, obviously, the Tennessee brand and represent yourself is always a great opportunity. And I'm excited to be here, and even furthermore excited for the upcoming season.
First question, right side, third row.
With all y'all's returning starters, what's it like just having the continuity of playing with these guys for 2, some even 3 years?
It's definitely great to have, that, as you said, continuity. We've known each other for a while. I've Cam was my roommate freshman year, and we've really grown together a lot. And different guys on offense, like Josh Malone, he came in early and become best friends. So different guys across the board. It's definitely great to have familiar faces, have that time of continuity, and it'll be exciting for this upcoming season.
Front row here on the left.
Joshua, you've had some wide receiver issues in terms of people staying healthy and staying on the field and whatnot, and the production probably is obviously not where you want it to be. You told me at Elite 11 regionals in March that Preston Williams was a guy that really caught your eye early in spring practice, Jeff George obviously as well. How have those guys mixed in with the current group you have, and how has their emergence really upped the ante for the entire group?
They've been definitely exactly how I've wanted them to be. You got guys like, as you said, Preston Williams, Josh Malone, Josh Smith, Juwan Jennings, that have been there and know the ropes and are continuing to progress themselves, but they're taking the newcomers and pushing them every day to get better so they can help us out this upcoming season. So, obviously health and everything, that's a part of football, and you have to be able to deal with who's on the field with you. So, but we have some great playmakers, especially this year at that position, and I'm excited to see them play.
Right side along the wall.
Josh, I know you guys don't listen to the media, and that's okay. But for the past couple of years, the media has appointed you guys back, that you're going to win the East, Tennessee's back. Putting what the media is saying aside, is this the year that you're back, and why?
This year's important just because it's the upcoming season, obviously. So, we feel like we have a great team, offensively, defensively, special teams, that will be able to get it done this upcoming season. And, we're still focused on how can we get better, how can Tennessee get better today. So that's been our mindset throughout the offseason, is what can Tennessee do today to be great. So, obviously, this season, it will be a fun season. It'll be an exciting season. So we're excited to take the field September 1st.
And my follow-up is, there were some games last year where were very close and were heartbreaking for Tennessee. Have you guys learned how to finish, and what have you done to learn how to finish?
I would say, our resume from last year shows that we know how to finish. Obviously, you have the Oklahoma game where we didn't finish in the fourth quarter, didn't finish in overtime, Florida where we didn't finish, and then you have Georgia game where we did finish, South Carolina game, big fumble at the end of the game to finish out the game, and then we finished out the season. So, we definitely do know how to finish. We learned a lot from last year in those tough games. Obviously, they're tough. Anytime you lose a game by 1 point, 1 possession, 13 total points, and 4 losses, that's crazy, and those are tough losses. But we learned a lot from them. We've grown as a team, and we'll be able to use what we learned last year to help us out this year.
Left side, second row.
Right. Josh, over here. I'm playing peekaboo. This year, a lot of the high expectations and stuff. You guys got a running back tandem in Kamara and Jalen Hurd. It sounds like you're getting better chemistry with your receivers. How much pressure does having those kinds of elements, those kind of components, take pressure off of you?
No, I would say there's never really any pressure on me. My goal is to go out, compete, and play the game as hard as I can every time I step on the field, and those guys have the same goals. So, being able to have weapons such as Alvin, Jalen, guys, a receiver that we just talked about, having those weapons is always great. You're able to put the ball in a playmaker's hand and let him do what he does best. So that's what we're trying to figure out. How can we get our playmakers the ball in their hands?
One other quick thing, if I may. Defensively, you guys have returning some guys on defensive end, some pretty impressive guys up front. You've got great linebackers, great secondary. It's got to be nice to know that maybe the offense is going to be on the field a bit.
It's definitely great. Our defense's mindset, they're focused on turnovers, getting the ball back in our offensive hands, and our job is to put as many points on the board as we can. So I know we averaged almost 40 points a game last year, and we're trying to do that again So we have a great defense, and it's definitely great to battle against them, compete against them every day. We are pushing each other to be better on both sides of the ball. So I think that type of competition, healthy competition, will show itself this season.
Right side in the back.
Josh, you do a great job of giving back to the community in Knoxville, and you tweeted a picture not that long ago of your best friend AJ at Children's Hospital. And I'm just wondering, how did that relationship begin, and what has been your reward for that investment?
It's been, my reward, it's been amazing. He just had his 6th birthday this past week and has birthday party Saturday, so we were over there just hanging out and everything, so it was a good time. But, I met him my sophomore year after the South Carolina game. He came to a practice, and he was still in a wheelchair then, but he was at practice, and we were able to give him a ball, a jersey, and everything. And then he had informed them that, I was his favorite player. So at the end of the season, before the bowl game, I was able to visit him right before the bowl game, and you really get to know him then. And so that was my first time, and every time you see him, he's high energy, high interactions, always wanting to do something different, and it's definitely exciting. He puts a smile on my face every time I see him. So, it just kind of put things in perspective for me. Anytime things get tough, I realize there's a 6-year-old kid that is going through something I couldn't even imagine. He has a great attitude and great mindset every single time I see him. So, it's definitely awesome. I'm very thankful for not only him, but all the other kids I've been able to reach out to and meet, and it's been an awesome experience.
Left side, third row. Yeah, sorry, he was before you.
Josh, obviously, the way the last 2 Florida games have ended and the fact that the streak is now at 11, the Tennessee faithful are putting a lot on the line September 24th. Is that a big deal in your locker room, that particular game, to get that win for the Tennessee fan base?
The most important game in our locker room is, the one on September 1st versus App State. So, we have to focus on taking care of business that game and progressing from there. Now, obviously, anytime you play Florida, anytime you play Georgia, anytime you play any team in the SEC, it's a rivalry and it's a big game. So, I know Florida comes to our place this year, and we'll be excited for that game, but we'll take care of that game when it comes.
Right side, front row.
As a quarterback who sees Cam Sutton in practice every day in scrimmages, what do you think are his strengths and weaknesses?
Cam Sutton is definitely, the best DB that I've played against for sure. So, Cam Sutton, he's always in the right position. He's always making plays. I think the great thing about Cam and the relationship I have with him is, we have constant dialogue. He's telling me what he sees from me that I can improve, and I'm telling him what I see from him that he can improve, and they're giving things away. So it's great to have that healthy dialogue, especially from the quarterback position, and then having Cam across the field. He's giving me tips, I'm giving him tips, and we've both been able to improve from that relationship we have. So it's an honor to go against him every day. I know he was saying the same for me. So it's definitely exciting to have that caliber across the field from you. And he's on your team as well.
Left side, front row.
Joshua, what part of your game do you look back on in the first 3 years of your career at Tennessee and say, I take that personally? Like, that has to change in my final year.
I kind of take, my whole game personally. I'm my biggest critic. So, every time I'm watching film, I'm trying to find how can I get better? What did I do good on this play? What did I do bad on this play? And how can I improve next time I step on the field? So, I take my whole game personally. I'm trying to improve every single day just like everyone else. But, I feel like I'm the hardest working guy in America, and that's kind of my mindset. So, I'm pushing myself every day to be great. I'm pushing my team every day to be great on and off the field. And with that mindset, we'll be able to be successful this season.
Also on the left side, second row.
Judge, you talked about the team's expectations this year. Just what do you feel like the fans are looking for this season, and how do you balance the team expectations versus what the fans want to see?
Our fans, they want to see a team that's hungry, that wants to compete, and that's going to go out and play hard and obviously come away with victories. And every time we step on the field, we expect to win. So those two expectations definitely meet in the middle. So it's great to have the supportive fan group that we have. They're hungry. They're always at games, away and home, cheering us on. And some away games you go to, it feels like a home game because we have so many fans there. So it's definitely great to have that supportive fan group, the best fan group in America. And we'll be excited to see them in Neyland this upcoming season.
We have time for 2 more questions. First, right here in the front row.
Josh, it seems like that this offseason there's been a priority on trying to emphasize the passing game for you guys a little more this year in the offense. I mean, what have you, in terms of what you guys have practiced and what you guys have been emphasizing in practice in the meeting rooms, things like that, how have you seen that been different maybe this spring, this offseason compared to ones in the past?
passing game, run game, any game is a constant improvement. So, especially in the pass game, it's about, 11 hats being on the same page, O-line and protection, running back and protection, route, receivers, tight ends, and routes, and getting open. Me being on the same page with all other 10 hats and knowing where everyone's going to be at one time. So, it's a constant improvement. We're doing different things, watching film together, getting on the field, doing various things in our training and everything to make sure that we're on the same page, all 11 hats are on one page, so we'll be able to be productive this season.
Last question here on the left side, third row.
Josh, there's been, for the past couple of weeks, maybe even months, there's been a kind of a negative pall. There's been a negative light cast over college football. A lot of bad things in media. You are an influential figure. You're a guy who does a lot of good works and good deeds, I would think, because you want to. But they get media attention because of who you are. At other schools, they call it the power of one. That is one player looking at another player and saying, hey, man, you can't do that. We need you to be accountable for the team. We need you to be better. What can players like you that have influence, and every player has influence, but has more influence as a leader of the team, do for other players to increase the positive actions in college football and not some of the negative things that are going on?
Just be accountable for the same accountability I put on myself. I have to use that and put it on my teammates. Obviously, you see a teammate, you see really anyone doing something that they shouldn't be doing, then use your voice, speak up, and say something about it. Obviously, I'm blessed with a great platform. Quarterback, University of Tennessee, from Alpharetta, so from this region, and a lot of people know me and a lot of people know my image, so that's obviously great. And now it's how can I use that image to affect other people's lives? So that's kind of my mindset off the field. I'm not in the books, I'm not on the field. Is how can I use my image to affect other people's lives? And obviously it starts with my teammates, just being a positive role model to obviously the freshmen that come in. I've seen a lot in my 3 years at Tennessee, and I continue to see a lot every day. So whatever forms of advice I can give them, words of wisdom, really anything that I can give back to them, then I know they'll take it and run with it. So it's just using your voice and not being afraid to speak up, because when you see something you don't speak up, that's when people get into trouble. So just be a positive influence and speak up when you have the voice to do it.
That's all we have time for. Thanks, Joshua.
No problem.